FA Cup.
One of the best weekends of the season, this third-round FA Cup match is coming at us thick and fast over the next 3 days, climaxing with our live game at Queen's Park Rangers on Monday night. Amongst the matches tonight, well, could Yeovil, the most successful non-league team ever in the FA Cup, claim their biggest scalp yet? Joe Royal and Oldham were living dangerously today. Little Marlow switched venues and opted to play at White Hart Lane. A great day out, but would they live to regret that decision? And it's been a difficult season so far for Howard Kendall and Everton. Could they turn the corner today at Wimbledon, the team nobody wants to play? Our guest is Alan Mullery, an FA Cup winner with Spurs, also captained Fulham in an FA Cup final. Alan, but tell us about third round day. What's it like?
It's a fantastic day if you're one of the small clubs because they've joined the big clubs. But it's not too clever if you're one of the big clubs who've got one of those dodgy draws away from home playing against the smaller clubs. I didn't like it very much. I was glad when we were through it, but there were times where we become very close to losing games. And I mean, the whole of your season, basically, if you're a mid-table side, is finished. It's all over.
Wonderful day. Before we start with the third round ties, let's have a look at some of the best moments in the Cup so far. One or two of the minnows already making a name for themselves. And the beauty about the third round, Alan, is that we don't know where nor who, but it's going to happen somewhere, isn't it, today?
Guaranteed cert, Richard, whatever. Many years ago, I was at the Sutton-Coventry match, and it was a fantastic... I think I enjoyed that game equally as much as I did playing in the third round, when little Sutton beat Coventry that day. Fantastic atmosphere, all the grounds around the country.
A whole host of things coming up over the next couple of hours. Huish Park right now, 8,500 in, the vast majority desperately hoping that Yeovil, without the famous slope now, hadn't forgotten how to turn over the big guns. Commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for both sides.
A lovely
Arsenal
touch. The
and
team's
Yeovil
introduced
Town
here
Football
by Alan Skirton, an Arsenal star of the 60s as a player, and now a very successful commercial manager here at Yeovil Town. In the current standings in the football pyramid, it's the 9th club visiting the 99th. Paths that will never cross in the same league, but interwoven in the wonderful web of the FA Cup, a web in which Yeovil Town have ensnared so many victims. Yeovil have to manage today without their captain, Mark Shale. He's suspended. Andy Wallace takes his place. Wallace, Jeff Sherwood and Phil Fern, survivors from the side which gave Queen's Park Rangers a run for their money in the third round 5 years ago. 8 of this team have been full-timers in the past.
Well, Steve Rutter will send his side out in a very familiar formation to all Yeovil fans. And if they're going to be successful today, a lot will depend on the defensive qualities of Sherwood, Wallace and Ferns.
Arsenal have Tony Adams back from suspension. Lee Dixon and Paul Merson are fit again, and Anders Limpar is given another chance to re-establish himself. Leaderson, Linnigan and Campbell lose their places, along with Ray Parler, who's injured. So David O'Leary stays in the side and is given an unusual job.
Yes, he was asked to play midfield in the second half against Aston Villa on Monday night, and I feel sure he'll be asked to partner David Hillier in that area again. But George Graham will want an awful lot from Anders Limpar and Paul Merson today.
John Lloyd is a rarity amongst referees in that he has played league football, but whisper the name of his club with Arsenal about, it was Wrexham. Yeovil kick-off on a day of so many postponements. Arsenal can have no complaints about the conditions here. The pitch is flat. There's a little bit of give in it. It's been very well tended during the week. The bigger problem weather-wise was the fog of the morning, which has drifted away happily. And now the problem for the Premier League players, captained by Tony Adams, is to try and see off Yeovil and all their traditional spirit. They are a side enjoying a good run in their league. They've risen to 7th in the GM Vauxhall Conference. Here's David Hillier. Smith. Paul Merson starting wide on the right of a midfield 4 and making a very encouraging and bold break here to produce the first corner.
Now that's the best way to take the sting out of an early onslaught that Arsenal might well have expected, and that's to take the game to Yeovil like that. Super run from Paul Merson.
A couple of thousand of Arsenal's fans lucky enough to get tickets, most of them behind the goal that Arsenal are attacking here at Merson's corner. Is Wilson's header and then Sanderson playing safe. Paul Sanderson, who was a scorer in the second round replay at Hereford. Smith. In early from Dixon. It was Wilson who cleared again. Nicky Spencer trying to make up the ground. Limpar. Now Winterburn. Andy Wallace, who's got a knee problem. Hopefully, although it may well require surgery in the future, it's standing up at the moment. They badly needed him to come back into the team today, with Mark Shale, who's such an important player, missing out cruelly through a booking picked up in the second round against Hereford. Adams. Here's Wright. How they could have done with him at Wrexham a year ago, and you wonder whether that sensational success for Brian Flynn's team would have happened if Wright had been eligible, but suspensions are part of the game, as are fouls, and it's a free kick to Yeovil. And this is where Yeovil have had some success. Phil Ferns takes these free kicks, and they load the penalty area, or the edge of it, to Yeovil. It's launched by Ferns. Sherwood coming in and getting to it. Wallace is there. Here's Richard Cooper.
Well, they certainly put some snow in the free kick, didn't they, Martin? Really launched it in there to test the big boys, but you do feel it. And Adams and Bold in particular, that they've got enough, and David O'Leary, they've got enough height in there not to be unduly worried with that kind of attack.
Sherwood's header, prod from Wilson. Here's Spencer, wants some support, offside.
Well, he's unlucky there, Mickey Spencer, Martin. If he'd have just looked the other way, the number 11, Steve Harrower, had made a great run.
Paul Wilson was the player who was caught by Spencer's pass, but they're a twin strike force with 3.5 years together, and they're a handful. Wilson, who isn't the tallest forward you'll ever see, has a natural spring. Limpar. Such a huge gap in status that Yeovil are trying to bridge here, but no minnow in the FA Cup has done it more often than them. And here's Dixon, though, for Arsenal, and Wright prods it goalwards. Helped out by Batty. In comes Winterburn. O'Leary. Batty getting to the ball well. Spencer trying to spread it. Now Hillier. Limpar. Smith and Wright in the centre. Mercer joining them. And Limpar overdoing a little. Hillier setting his sights. And David Cole's taking no chances down by his right-hand post.
Well, that's a bright opening with Arsenal. What a great run that was earlier from Lee Dixon. That created the chance for Ian Wright, and then David Hillier getting the shot there.
Wilson. Ball just hesitated. Sanderson hoping that would have been slid through for him to take on. Even so, Yeovil have a corner.
I'd just like to have seen Paul Wilson show a little bit more belief in himself there and commit Steve Bold a little bit. He made it quite easy for the defender to stand off him and just block the pass.
Now Wilson trying to show the heading ability they know all about in these parts on a wider stage. He flicks it on beautifully. Yeovil rather got attracted to the centre of the goal, and there was no one waiting by the far post. But it was a very well-served ball from Batty's corner.
It was a very well-rehearsed corner kick, and what they tried to do there was get Paul Sanderson round the back post, and he just didn't get round quick enough because the rest of the set piece worked perfectly.
And a missed kick by Dixon, seized upon as another cause for optimism here in this part of Somerset, where they expect the cup runs to happen, and they're very rarely disappointed. Hoisted on by Wilson, off goes Sanderson. Poked out by Bold. Remember, Yeovil have already knocked out Torquay and Hereford this season, to say nothing of what they've done in the past. The further past, that is. And in comes Dobbins, and Seaman's just got there.
Oh, well, Anders Limpar went to sleep there, and Nigel Winterburn's absolutely furious with him. It's Limpar who's responsible to take the defender on, but he completely goes to sleep, and he can't quite direct it into Mickey Spencer's path. Watch it here, if he could just pull it back another yard, Spencer must surely have scored.
Wallace. Sherwood taking charge. Here's Wright. Slippery play. There was no slipping through the hands of the goalkeeper.
That'll be the one plus thing at the moment for Arsenal, is that 2 or 3 times he's been involved in the play, Ian Wright. He has looked very bright and very willing to take a shot at goal at any time. But I do feel that they've got to get the ball wide to Merson and Limpar as often as possible. And at the moment, they haven't been able to do that often enough for me.
Adams on Sanderson. To go to Arsenal when Yeovil were hoping for a free kick. Above all else, we should applaud the current regime at Yeovil for the club even being in existence. When they sold their previous ground, they thought that they were rich enough to go to full-time players here, and the whole thing became a financial disaster. The club nearly folded, and here they are, revived and financially reasonably secure again after this cup run, whatever happens today. Limpar. Smith. O'Leary. And now Hillier. Batty who blocked it. Dixon. That might have been a problem for David Coles.
I don't know if Phil Ferns knew an awful lot about that.
It was certainly Ferns who took the sting out of it at the expense of this corner. You do feel this could be a route for Arsenal. So much penalty area power. Not this time, not yet. Dobbins. Limpar. Arsenal really expecting a spark from Anders Limpar. They brought him back for matches against Leeds and Manchester United in the Premier League, and he didn't in truth deliver in either of those, lost his place again. Bold with a good flick, and Ian Wright scores!
Well, he's got a right to complain, David Coles. You can't allow a marksman of Ian Wright's quality this amount of space. I said that corners could cause them problems because the Arsenal delivery is normally very good, but look at the amount of space Ian Wright's allowed there. And he looks bright enough. If anything came there, he would punish it quite simply, and that's what he does.
So Wright, the player who was conspicuous in the third round last year by his absence at Wrexham, is very much in the picture here, and it's Yeovil Town 0, Arsenal 1. It's Wright's 13th goal of the season, but certainly not unlucky for Arsenal, but maybe for Yeovil now. Here's Spencer, who was in the picture early on in the game, but Arsenal have tightened up, and Wright needs another attack. They're coming in greater waves now. Cooper trying to tee up O'Leary on the edge of the area, but there's a break on here for Yeovil. Through Batty, who feinted to go right and went the other way and rather took Spencer by surprise. Here's Burns. Wilson, skillfully done. Spencer. It's all a little too intricate in the end. Conte. Rolled over by Smith, but fairly enough. The referee right on the spot. And Lloyd, who had a couple of games for Wrexham in the Football League in the mid-60s. And understands the player's point of view. Play on again is the message. Hillier. There's a greater appetite about Arsenal now, that's no surprise. 10 minutes left in the first half. Here's Limpar. Robbins trying to keep his eye on the ball. Limpar getting his cross in for Wright, and trickled tantalisingly across the face of the goal area there.
Well, Wayne Dobbins really does need some help when he's faced up with Anders Limpar. At the moment, they're just leaving him 1 against 1. And Limpar looks good enough to be able to take him when he wants. But again, look how bright Ian Wright's looking at the moment.
The one thing about Anders Limpar, he won't worry too much about the chill in the air. It's colder than this in Sweden this time of year. And also in the air, the visibility is good as well, which certainly hasn't been the case all day today. They predicted the locals here that the fog would lift about 2 o'clock. They were right about that. They said it would come down again about 4:30 if Yeovil were 4-0 down. So we'll wait to see whether the second half of the equation materialises. They're 1-0 down at the moment.
1-0 down, but more concern to Steve Rutter will be that Arsenal now look to be far more in control of the game than at any time, really. Dictating the pace of the game, the tempo of it.
That's Cooper. David Seaman had started to come, was on his way back. And the only real risk was that he might just lose his footing in the goal mouth there, and there was a bit of a stumble.
The real risk as well, if it had got that about 20 or 30 foot higher, and it was dipping down under the bar, that might have caused the goalkeeper some problems.
Seaman, in fact, was with Queen's Park Rangers when they came here 5 years ago, but he didn't play, had a broken thumb, and Mickey Johns kept goal. Sherwood, and Smith scrapping for it, so too is Cooper. Stayed in play with Limpar. He suddenly saw the possibility of accelerating, and so too did Dixon from Merson's pass. Got the acceleration to keep that in play.
Well, he's shown an appetite, Lee Dixon, to be getting forward at every opportunity.
Missed the last 4 games with his knee injury. Paul Merson missed the last 2. And Limpar simply been out of favour. Offside against Wright. Phil Ferns to really connect with this free kick, but Yeovil have gone forward optimistically, but he might drop it dangerously on the edge of the penalty area, and he does. Bold, well aware of it, as Arsenal, they've been well briefed by their scouts, which I'm sure they have, would have known that that's a favourite free kick, and that was a foul on Limpar.
I think a little word in Wayne Dalton's ear here, I'm sure, from the referee. He's commits himself early to the tackle, and that means he's very late when Anders Limpar there.
There's still a softish landing here, although you wonder whether some frost might get into the ground in the latter stages of the second half. Can't be too many better playing surfaces than used in the third round of the FA Cup around the country today. Using the full width of the pitch, and it's another Arsenal corner and another test for Yeovil. 5 minutes left in the first half. It's a short one to Hillier. Well saved by Coles from Smith, who, when he met that one, must have thought that it was 2-0.
Well, Alex Smith would have thought from that distance, all I have to do is make connection with this. Pulls away at the back post, you see it, it gets above the centre half. He must think it's a goal. The goalkeeper's thankful it's straight at him.
David Cole scrambling back there and going behind the line himself, but making sure that the ball didn't follow him.
Well, it's another set piece. It's troubled Yeovil, isn't it? I think they went to sleep there, Martin, in respect. They were expecting the ball just to get played in. And Arsenal caught them sleeping by playing a little short corner.
Not in full working order in recent games. The restart's very important to them, and there's Batty catching Winterburn, who's gone headlong into the penalty area, but from some distance outside. And it's going to be another set piece.
He's actually unlucky, Nigel Whitman. You see this, as he gets to the ball, he catches him quite late. He's so unfortunate because he was completely clear into the penalty area then.
Batty felt that Winterburn settled for the free kick.
I think the pictures show there he was definitely caught, wasn't he? That could be a painful one in the top of the foot as well, that thing.
That's a fairly relaxed Arsenal manager at the moment. Cooper breaking off the end of it, which he does. It's encouraging Merson to shoot.
I'm not quite sure what Paul Merson had in mind there. He's got caught in between doing something and nothing, isn't he? I mean, whether he's looked to bend it in the far corner, this near corner, I'm not so sure what Paul's trying to do at all there.
While that was going on, Paul Wilson's come across to the near touchline just to get a message from Steve Rutter. And then David Coles kicks the ball right at him. And out. Bold. Dobbins with the header. Here's Hillier. Over the back of Andy Wallace with a run on here against Ian Wright. And Wallace moving well, showing no signs of the knee problem that's kept him out of the Yeovil side recently. Smith. It was Wright punching again.
Well, that's a free header that Ian Wright had there. He really should have done better. Not so sure whether the defender puts him off here. But again, look how well Arsenal compete at that near post. Wright's in there with the second header. He really should be hitting the target from that sort of range.
Not quite a free header, though.
Not quite.
Dobbins. A little bit of time added on, one suspects, at the end of the first half. Both players have been on. Judged by Wilson, but Spencer had anticipated that. Not getting time to settle on the ball up front as they were in the opening 20 minutes. Arsenal have tightened up a great deal in that respect. Dixon, and Mercer's made a beautiful run, which ends in his own loss of control rather than anything untoward from Cooper, who tried to stay with him all the way, to his credit.
Well, I've got a lot to thank for Richard Cooper's run there, tracking Merson. He made a great run into the box, was found very well by Lee Dixon, but Cooper just gets his body in front to stop the Arsenal player scoring.
Dixon using his speed on the retreat this time. Seaman, he's had one or two difficulties, which goalkeeper hasn't? With the new rule this season. It's stoppage time at the end of the first 45 minutes here at Huish Park. Wallace. He's played in attack for Yeovil this season. To get back to be one of the trio of centre-backs. Limpar. Yeovil don't want anything else to befall them before the break. But here's Merson trying to make it happen again for Arsenal. Smith climbing, and he'll go in again, but it was Coles' ball. And the goalkeeper, who played once for Arsenal juniors as a 15-year-old, trying to stimulate something with his clearance. Always in trouble, and it's Wright who's looked to chip Coles, and he's done it brilliantly. And in stoppage time, Arsenal's grip now much more solid, and Ian Wright, who has a real track record, of course, in the FA Cup in his time with Crystal Palace, those 2 goals in the final, of course, against Manchester United, and 2 goals here, the second one a classic.
Oh, this has got quality written all over it. Look at that, here's a little look, sees Coles off his line, and that's quite brilliantly executed. I've said since the half started, Mark, that he's looked bright, and he's looked sharp, and this, no surprise to me. He snaps on that mistake, there he is in an instant. 2 little touches, knows the keeper's off his line. Quite brilliant.
And the goal coming at a time where there were 1 or 2 signs that Yeovil were feeling the pace, the extra strain of a match at this level, having begun so brightly. But now Arsenal don't want the half-time whistle to go. They'd love the half to go on. But it's come to an end, and Ian Wright takes a bow as he comes off at the break. The first goal from a set-piece at which Arsenal have looked especially dangerous. The second very much all his own work. And Yeovil now, with David Coles reflecting on being beaten twice by the club that he used to support as a lad. Yeovil with a very hard second 45 minutes in prospect. At half-time at Huish Park, it's Yeovil Town 0, Arsenal 2. The man of the moment involved at the start of the second half. Arsenal had failed to score in their last 4 away games in the Premier League. reactivated here by Ian Wright. 2-0 up against non-league opponents, who will have a mental battle as well as a physical one now. Try and stay in this game.
I think the good thing about this half is that man there will certainly want to get his hat-trick, won't he? He'll be aiming for it.
And it's good to be talking about him scoring goals rather than one or two other incidents that he's got himself involved in again. Kept in by Wilson, Sanderson. Taken on here by Dobbins. There's a pumping tackle by Tony Adams. Dobbins has picked himself up. It was a bit of a catch-weight contest. Hillier, Limpar was in a very good position then, and the supply line wasn't plumbed in properly by David Hillier. Spencer. Now Sherwood. Yeovil have lost only 2 of their last 13 games in their league, the Vauxhall Conference. They're not used to trailing. They don't encounter Ian Wright every day of the week.
Certainly not when he's as bright as has been today.
Merson. And straining to prevent the corner. The linesman has said a corner it is.
See Steve Bold edge of the box now, he's just gone in. He almost dictates where the ball's going to be aimed.
Adams came in behind him, Hillier shoots. And Bold. Wow. It seemed certain that we were going to say 3-0 then. And it stayed out. David Cole still in the firing line. Smith, and he's just off target and just away from Bold, who was moving in from even closer range.
Well, it was almost like slow motion there as that movement developed there. The shot came in from the edge of the box. I think it goes to David Hillier, who drives it in. And it's just Tony Adams there. Just, watch this, he just keeps him out of the way. You think, must be a goal. And it's a fabulous, instinctive save.
Hoisted forward by O'Leary, and then Smith for Wright. It could be the hat-trick, not this time, but there is still plenty of time. And he certainly wouldn't bet against it.
Well, they've opened up very brightly, haven't they, Arsenal? They've already created 2 or 3 chances. And this one, they've got to be thankful for Sherwood here. He just gets his foot in, plays it off a right, and it drops into the goalkeeper's arms.
Limpar. There's a corner, and that means more concern for the non-league side.
Steve Ball's probably had more chances in this game than he's had all season.
He hasn't scored since the opening day of the season. Harrower. Now Limpar. The chance to take on Dobbins, who can't prevent the cross, but it was anticipated well by Ferns, who got in front of Alan Smith at the near post. Yeovil at the moment needing something just to spark the second half from their point of view. It's going to be very hard to achieve. With the crowd getting behind them now. The pass from Harrower. The run from Sanderson. Spencer's in the centre. Can they find the cross here? And Batty coming in. He was always half a yard short. After Spencer had taken the defenders away into the centre.
That was the most promising move of the match for me, without a doubt. Lovely ball that set Sanderson free. He did provide a good cross, but Batty was just unable to get on the end of it. You see, we're wondering, is he going to produce the cross here? He digs it out, bypasses everyone at the near post, and Batty's, what, half a yard short.
And they're relaxed enough down there to be signing autographs. That says something about how Arsenal feel. Well, they're going to bring on Neil Coates, who scored the winning goal at Hereford as a substitute. And they're taking off Richard Cooper, who is only past fit today. Problem with his left knee. So can Coates bring a change of mood? He's certainly got his name in the roll of honour with Yeovil already. With that late goal which meant so much at Hereford, which meant that this match would be played here. He's a right-sided defender by trade, Neil Coates, and that's freed Dobbins to go and try and give Yeovil a bit more impetus in midfield. Well, we hope that David Coles connects cleanly with this. He's a long way from home. He's got Alan Smith 10 yards away from him. But he's easily lofted it over him. Up goes Wilson, so often the target. Here's Smith. Merson. Slipping as he played it, but it might still reach right. It has done. And it's beaten the goalkeeper, but it's going to beat the post as well. And taking no chances was Coates, who couldn't see, of course, whether anyone else was following in, and he had to play the ball rather than let it run. It's still with Wright. Out by Wallace. Touch from Spencer. Smith. Dobbins trying to settle into his change of role since the substitution. Dixon. Arsenal now able to take an extra touch where they want. O'Leary. Nelson turned away there, feeling that he'd been rather brutally treated. Well, in front of goal, Ian hasn't quite got it right in the second half.
But this chance was all about his pace that created it for him. He got in there. I think he just lost his bearings a little bit there. And the shot's never really gone in, but Coates will be taking any chances.
With 25 minutes to go, they lead Yeovil by 2-0, both from Ian Wright. Spencer. Dixon, spotting that Merson was setting up on the run. The ball was deflected off Spencer. Batty down from Wilson to Spencer again. Sanderson screaming for the ball. And Seaman coming and taking charge. Sanderson trying to get to the loose ball to sweep it back again while the goalkeeper was still out of his goal. And Wright did well to reach that. Smith. Merson. He's so strong with his back to the goal. There's a cloud over the future of Alan Smith. His contract is up at the end of this season. No shortage of interest requiring his services. I wonder whether Arsenal will want to allow him to go. That's a matter for George Graham. It's certainly a matter for discussion as well. Limpar. Hillier. They were still working hard, and although the gap remains, it's still great credit to football at the conference level that it's been by no means one-way traffic throughout. Winterburn. Burns, who we were talking to before the game, he said he expected the match just to fly by like a blur, be over almost before it seemed to have begun. And I'm sure that's the way the Yeovil players are experiencing it out there. Every challenge they have to make is that much more stressful than they're used to week in, week out in the Vauxhall Conference. Wallace, oh, and Wright has his hat-trick. Midway through the second half, and David Coles is angry again. Andy Wallace didn't put it out of harm's way, and with Ian Wright around, there really was only one outcome.
And that's exactly what he was saying, wasn't he? As it dropped there, he said to Andy Wallace, why didn't you clear it? With Ian Wright as great as he's been all afternoon, no real surprise that the product ends up the back of the net. Gambles that it's not going to get there. He's quick enough to beat the goalkeeper and clever enough just to dink it over him.
Well, when, of course, Wright arrived at Arsenal from Crystal Palace and Southampton, wasn't it? He got a hat-trick in his first league game and a hat-trick here at Yeovil in the FA Cup. And all those Wrexham players from a year ago saying, weren't we lucky he didn't play against us at the racecourse in the third round last season.
This is when it's painful though for the non-league boys, man, it really is, when they put so much into their game. And now Arsenal have got that third goal, and you watch them try to keep the ball now for as long as possible and make the Yeovil lads chase all over the place trying to retrieve it.
Merson. O'Leary just kept it simple, as you'd expect, in the centre of midfield alongside David Hillier. Steve Rutter was saying the one player he didn't want to see back in the side today was Merson. He's contributed down the right-hand side for Arsenal. Wilson. Well, for their own personal pride, Yeovil would, of course, love to get one goal from this game. The risk in chasing it now is that they could be on the wrong end of a more embarrassing scoreline than perhaps their efforts deserve.
I don't think you can see a genuine way back for Yeovil now 3-0 down. So Arsenal, certainly the coaching staff will be very keen that the defensive unit now stays in contact and gets themselves a clean sheet.
Spencer. Seaman keeping his head down, his eye on the ball. Dobbins. Here's Wright. Picked off by Ferns. He had turned his back. Merson still harassing back, but to no avail this time. It's Dobbins for Yeovil. Sanderson hopes if required. Here he is. That was a miss hit, but it's run on for Dobbins, who saw Seaman starting to come off his line, and that was an enterprising try.
A good little footballer, Wayne Dobbins, Martin. I remember him from a time at West Brom. He always had good feet and good ability, and he's looked very bright since he's moved into this centre midfield role, and you know exactly what he's trying to do there, and he isn't too far away.
Smith. And a trick by Batty. Gets it back from Sanderson. It's good football from Yeovil involving Wilson and Sanderson. And Winterburn stopping the cross, but having to scurry to do that. Every now and then they put the passes together, the passes that have proved very successful at conference level. David Seaman could have picked that up, but it's not the first time I've seen him react like that this season. It's all very well to smile about it when you're 3-0 up and the final whistle is not too far away. And it's Wilson rather surprisingly, and not to the wishes of the crowd who's being replaced. In his defence, he's due a hernia operation. He's been putting it off while the cup run continued. And on comes Paul Nevin, who was with Carlisle United for a spell last season. Prior to that, he was studying in the United States. Spencer. That's ruled a dive by the referee. Merson, O'Leary. And a little pat on the back for George Graham for picking this right side today. Had to change one or two things.
Well, I always felt that having watched them on Monday against Aston Villa in the game here at Yeovil, they should be positive, and I felt George Graham was going to be positive. I thought Anders Limpar and Merson, if he was fit, would play from the beginning. I think that was the right decision to make, and they've just tightened it up in the midfield. It's a very late tackle, that is. I think one of frustration more than anything there from Mickey Spencer.
On Lee Dixon.
They're not happy at all, are they?
There was a reaction in unison from the Arsenal bench, and indeed from most who witnessed Spencer's late tackle. It's a yellow card. What is it for Dixon? He's only just back from injury.
It's a sore one, that, when it comes through. I mean, you see he commits himself to the tackle. He's late, he catches him on the side of the foot there. On you, boys! And it's been a very positive performance from Arsenal, apart from a nervy opening 10 minutes.
Well, the hope now, really, for Yeovil is only that the fog comes down. It's not a great sign of it. Nice slipping. But that foul by Spencer's put a bit of devil into a game that was beginning to ebb away as a contest, and Arsenal wanting to reimpose themselves now in defence of the injured Dixon, who's still limping, but still on the pitch. Batting. Yeovil also fired up as well. Oh, and it hit Nevin. Wallace trying to make amends for his mistake. He's done it very well for Spencer. He's round the goalkeeper, but the ball hasn't ended up in the net, and it's a penalty. John Lloyd had no doubt he was right up with play.
Well, I'd like to see this one again. I thought he'd lost his chance there. Looks to me like he's dragged it awful far, and I think he makes the most of that. I'm not so sure Steve Bowles fouled him there. I think they're fortunate to get a penalty, but who's to say they don't deserve a little bit of glory today?
Paul Batty missed a penalty at Hereford in the second round replay. Ten minutes to go. Batty for Yeovil. Oh, that's perfectly executed. 3-1.
You do feel this is nothing but mere consolation. But doesn't he stick it away very, very well indeed?
A noise now, the like of which we haven't heard since the early stages of the game. Back from Sherwood.
Evolved as well, didn't it, from Andy Wallace's really probing run deep into the Arsenal defence.
And it's Wallace on the ball at this free kick. How are Arsenal going to react here? Harrower. Spencer's offside, and it's in again, but it doesn't count.
Well, the Yeovil supporters at the opposite end of the ground just couldn't believe the luck there. They didn't see the flag go up. They were all there, but see, Arsenal hold the line very, very well. There's no doubt he's offside. But it was his run, wasn't it, deep into the Arsenal defence there, that created the opening for Mickey Spencer and led to the penalty.
And Paul Batty's 5th goal in the FA Cup this season. Here's Wright. Oh, Limpar Smith. And Smith's offside.
Well, they almost tried to walk that one in, didn't they? I mean, they just seem to have so much time as it comes over there. Anders Limpar says, here you go, you can have it, Smithy. And just manages to hit the Yeovil players with it.
Yeovil scored a late goal here on Monday to beat Bath City in a Vauxhall Conference derby game. So they've got the stamina. And Wallace, who's been pushed forward now into a role he occupied earlier in his career here at Yeovil in midfield, and has brought some zest, as Andy was saying, playing a part in the build-up to the penalty incident, an incident that George Graham, I'm sure, would feel was harsh from the Arsenal point of view. Smith. Maybe Wright's not finished yet. Now it's again on that weaker side where he's not quite as devilish.
Again, he's so full of confidence, though. What he's doing, he's always just trying something different. And nothing's so straightforward, or just pulling the trigger and smacking it past the goalkeeper. For Ian Wright, now he's got a hat-trick.
Wallace, that's a foul. Well, if Yeovil could make something from this, it would be very awkward for Arsenal in the few minutes that remain. A game that seemed to be safely in their grasp. Loosened by the penalty from Batty. Now it's Dobbins over the ball at the free kick. And there he spotted that. Wallace. Wright's kicked it only as far as Sherwood. Well, in the circumstances, desperate measures required, and Dobbins looking for something there. Would have been a candidate for FA Cup goal of the decade if he'd gone in.
Yeah, it's late on. I mean, you can't really criticise him for attempting things like that this late on. 3-1 down.
It's a strong finish this from Yeovil. Sanderson hoping for a corner, not getting it. Harrower.
What a super cross.
Nevin threw himself at it. Dobbins. There's a corner. Harrower, things started to come. Batty. Well, if Arsenal thought, having gone 3 in front in the second half, they were going to have an easy passage, they've been mistaken.
Well, they've never let their heads drop, have they, the Yeovil players? And full credit to them. They've kept trying to plug away. They've got the penalty, and from the moment the penalty's gone in, they've really put Arsenal under some pressure. But I think, in all honesty, Arsenal are quite happy, Marty, to see this game out. They've considered it a job well done.
Harrower. Evans blocking the path there of Paul Nevin. Right. And Wright was very nearly able to dispossess Batty then. Sanderson. We're in stoppage time. And a fighting finish from Steve Rutter's men. Nevin. That might have been a foul by Dixon. I'm not sure that the referee quite saw it. Not the way the crowd saw it anyway. And that certainly is a foul, and everyone's seen that. By Wayne Dobbins. He's left his calling card right at the last. And he certainly hasn't done any hopes of getting back into full-time football any harm today. He's looked out of place, taking on Arsenal either down the right-hand side or in midfield, where he was switched midway in the second half. Waiting on the halfway line. If Arsenal can clear this to him, very little cover around, but he's surely done enough. Spencer, accidental handball. Wallace. The reins have been taken off Andy Wallace. He's looked a different prospect. Sanderson. Well, Ian Wright has a hat-trick here, and Arsenal have cut this potentially tricky FA Cup hurdle down to size thanks to that. Yeovil's adventure into the third round, but it ends here despite a late penalty by Paul Batty. But great credit to all concerned, first and foremost that there is still a Yeovil town, and the future much brighter because of the exploits of Steve Rutter and his players. While Arsenal came here absolutely determined, as Ian Wright makes sure that he keeps the match ball, determined not to go the way they did at Wrexham a year ago. And once they got the first goal, that was always likely to happen. Wright's second was a delight just before half-time, the hat-trick in the second half, and genuine delight from Arsenal that they've won here, and that in itself is a compliment to Yeovil Town. Yeovil Town 1, Arsenal 3.